Well, this entire week is dedicated to the men and women who came home after serving overseas. Sarver says it's also about remembering those who didn't come home, like the individuals on this wall. Well, David and Lindsay, Carroll County Sheriff Randy Mayfield says the ring involved 2 women on the outside and 4 male inmates, and he says the deals were blatantly being set up on the phones that inmates can pay to use inside the jail. Snyder says the White River was chosen because it drops more than 2,000 feet from beginning to end, helping to create power for the generators. Now, that's partly the reason why the Corps would later put in its own dams, first at Bull Shoals, later at Table Rock, and then at Beaver. But it's also about flood control.
Why is there this element who immediately wants to associate everybody in the white nationalist movement with Glenn Miller?
KKK leader Thomas Robb says he only met Cross a few times in passing. City officials say one of the benefits of the proposal is that it would incorporate many of the already existing structures. For example, these 2 buildings would stay intact, more or less surrounding a baseball diamond and acting like an upper deck in a major league stadium. And this is really the area in Boone County that took the brunt of the storm last night. Now, of course, we still don't know if it was a tornado or straight line winds, but you can tell just how strong the storm was by this scene behind me. We're told that there's really 3 different living areas on this property, and you can see the damage, of course, of this power line here to the roof of this home, the tree, and then if you look at those back 2 trailer homes, you can see that the roofs have been ripped off, some of the walls have been caved in, the porch has been pulled off of its foundation, and I was told that there were 9 people inside these homes last night. Well, this may look like part of the creek. This is actually where the road used to run, headed to the nearby campground. The river not only deposited all of this rock, but also widened this area by more than 50 feet. During the fire, a number of pens were opened up to let the dogs loose so they wouldn't get hurt, but many of them ended up out in the woods. So the community worked for hours to get them all back and give them a place to stay.
Ever since this happened, there's been people left and right.
The proposed dredging effort would take place in 2 parts. On this side, there's roughly a half-mile stretch that is in the jurisdiction of the Army Corps of Engineers. And then on the other side of the bridge, there's a 1.5-mile stretch that would be handled by the city of Hollister.
Our Grant Sloan spoke with the COO of Westgate Resorts and joins us live with the latest.
Well, Luis Diaz, who posted the video to Facebook, says his most recent trip to Branson was the first time he's been discriminated against in his life. Now, the COO of Westgate Resort says this is a misunderstanding and that Diaz's family didn't understand the requirements to receive the discounted tickets.
And I would take care of that place, and I would take care of the people that stayed there.
Hunt says in some ways this single cinder block tells the story. She says the National Weather Service believes that that cinder block is actually from the foundation. You'd be hard-pressed to find video from the early days of stock car racing in the Ozarks, but the stories are just as vibrant as the sound of the 34 Fords on the track back then.
People have no idea what a big sport it was.
The commission says it is getting some pushback from its master plan concept. Now, it says trails like this one leading to Black Bass Lake are fine, but it's whenever these trails, but right next up to homes, that has some residents concerned. Dams like Table Rock almost went in on a neighboring river in the Ozarks, the Buffalo. Join us tomorrow night as we look at what almost wasn't, but would later become the first river named a national park. For KOLR 10 News, I'm Grant Sloan.